Welcome to Lead Her Chats with your host, Rajade Richmond. This is a no-fluff zone where big girl panties are required. Nothing but true-to-life conversations take place here. We are broadcasting from Bold Radio Station, and now, here is your host, Rajade.
Welcome to another episode of Leader Chats. This is our 7th show, and I'm so excited to be here again with you on this Monday evening. And thank you for being here as well, because I know after, starting the work week off and then having a long day, then you're here with us. We really appreciate you being on this call. Our guest today is going to be Miss Shannon Hernandez. But before I introduce her, I'm going to talk to you about our leader tip of the night. Our leader tip is going to go along with our topic, of course. So today, our leader tip is start using your words carefully. Our words can be tools to design and create the lives that we want. Our words can either create abundance or it can create lack. So as you're listening to the show today, start thinking about what words are you using to create your life, and what words have you used so far to design the life that you have, and are you where you want to be? If you're not, then it's time to start using a different set of words to start designing the life that you want. All right, that was our leader tip of the evening. So let me go right in and introduce our guest tonight. Her name is, of course, Shannon Hernandez. She is the founder of The Writing Whisperer. Her mission is to help business owners and authors become thought leaders through the use of strategic content so they can positively impact more people. The Writing Whisperer was named one of the top 100 websites for writers by The Right Life in both 2014 and 2015. Shannon continues to inspire others as a content strategist and copywriter through her blog, speaking engagements, and podcast appearances. In addition to business writing, Shannon's memoir, Breaking the Silence, chronicles her exit out of public education after 15 years. Shannon is currently working on her second book, where she is exploring what it means to live courageously and create a life she loves. Throughout her travels, volunteer work, and everyday experiences, she is facing personal fears and examining the feelings associated with those fears. She continues to explore her role in society and reveal what she learns about humanity along the way. Shannon has been featured on CBS, ABC, The Boston Globe, The Huffington Post, Fox, Identity Magazine, and NBC. She travels the nation and speaks regularly at conferences, association meetings, and networking events. Her presentations are dynamic, engaging, and interactive. And without further ado, let's introduce my guest, Shannon. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
I'm so excited I have been able to catch up with you, because I know a couple years ago we were connected in your Facebook group, and then I know you decided to do a whole complete shift, and that's when you started doing your traveling. You started traveling.
Yes.
So I know you went through that. I was there. I was present during your whole entire shift during that transition period for you. And I haven't talked, and I follow you on social media, but I know we haven't had a conversation in a couple years now, and I'm just so honored that you're here tonight with us.
Yeah, it's going to be good to catch up and see what's going on.
Absolutely. So your resume, it never ceases to amaze me. You're just a dynamic person. You've done a lot, and tonight our topic is designing your life through words. And I chose that topic because your life is just words in motion. Everything that you do has involved your writing career, and how it has transpired your life into new heights and levels. And so tonight I wanted us to explore that, your travels and your writing, and how, that has designed and mended the life that you want with your marriage, with meeting new things, and it really just exploring life. It really experiencing and living it, and not just waking up and existing.
Yeah, that is something I'm actually really passionate about. And one of the things I've been talking a lot in my brand, The Writing Whisperer. In fact, I just finished a retreat, and 7 ladies came from across the nation, and we had a 4-day retreat in New York City. And we wrapped that up on Saturday. But one of the things that I'm continuously talking about in my brand is it's really a few themes. One is just having the courage to dream and to allow yourself to dream. And that's hard. I mean, that's really hard because you can imagine if you just clear your schedule. I will challenge the listeners to do this. Clear 1 hour of your schedule this next week and sit and allow yourself to dream about what your life could be like. That takes an immense amount of courage to actually even do that. Because once we start dreaming it, we start thinking it. And then the voices come, right? Like, hopefully they're good voices, but for most of us, it's things like, oh, you don't deserve that, or you can't have that, or how are you going to do that, or why do you think you should have that? And it really starts with that dreaming process, but also silencing those voices, actually like talking back to them, be like, yes, I do deserve it. Yes, I am going to go after it. Really getting the courage, to talk back to the voices that are speaking to us day in and day out. And especially as women, we just have, oh man, there's a lot of voices in our heads. And I don't mean crazy. I just mean like life, like things.
Oh, no, crazy. I know in my head I have crazy voices.
You got crazy voices?
I do.
Okay, well, we should talk about a tool to really silence them, because the fact of the matter is you can only have one voice speaking in your head at a time. So if my voice says, oh, you can't make X amount of dollars, what I say to it is, oh, yes, I can, and watch me. Like, I really just answer the voice back, and that gives me the control back and gives me the power back. And that would be a really good tip for everyone in the audience to start trying to do, because it really works.
Right. Now I want to back up a minute, because if everyone was listening to your bio, you used to be in public education. That's when I met you, when you were still teaching. And what I wanted you to talk about, because we just mentioned those voices, right? And the fear. And so I want you to kind of talk about how you were in public education for 15 years, but then you just decided to do something completely different. So how did you reconcile that? And what made you want to take that leap?
Well, that's a really good question. And the answer is not really an easy one, but Hurricane Sandy came through in October of 2013, and I was a teacher in New York City public schools at the time, and I did not bring anything home with me that evening. It was, I believe, a Monday, and so I had no work to do, which hardly ever happens when you're a teacher. Plus, the hurricane came through, and they used our schools as a shelter. So we didn't go to school for a whole week. So literally, I was stranded in my house with no work, and my brain had a lot of time to do some thinking. And I was sitting at the table, and my husband was working from home because he couldn't get to his office either. And I just looked up. I had been journaling, and I looked up, and I told him, I said, I can't do this anymore. Nobody appreciates teachers. The kids are great, to be honest. It was never the kids that was why I left. It was a system and other teachers who were jealous because I was an out-of-the-box thinker, and the kids loved coming to my classroom, and administration who just didn't get like what was going on to begin with. And it just hit me. And I had this whole week off with no schoolwork. And I remember thinking to myself, this is a gift. Mm-hmm. And I felt a little bad about that because there was so much destruction, from the hurricane. But I just remember, and I wrote in my book that was like a gift that week that was given to me, because I came out of robot mode, and I really just thought about, really at the moment, was how unhappy I was. I didn't have a plan. And the next day I got up, and the thought didn't go away. And my rule is always, I get really excited by ideas and collaboration. So I kind of have a self-imposed rule that I don't act on any ideas unless I have 24 hours to think about it, make sure that I really need to be doing that idea or that project. And I woke up, and the idea was still with me. And I made a list in my journal. And on the left-hand side, I wrote all the things that I was good at. And on the right-hand side, I tried to figure out how I could make money doing those things. And I noticed almost everything on the left-hand side was like strategy, projects, writing, tutoring, teaching. It was all kind of that stuff. But I didn't know how to make a business because everyone in my family was always like, go to college, get a job, right? Like nobody was an entrepreneur. So I didn't know what to do with that. So it was an uncomfortable time. It was exciting, but it was also uncomfortable. But the seed had been planted that I didn't have to keep living like I was living, which was unhappy. I didn't want to be unhappy. So if you fast forward, not too much. 2 weeks later, I went on Facebook. I said, I need a business coach. I had no idea what that even meant, but my Facebook community, they pay attention and they listen. And that's something I really value. If I need something, that those people show up and they figure it out. They help me figure it out. So I got connected with the business coach and we started in November of that year. And all I told her was, I don't know what I want to do, but I don't want this. I can't keep living like this. This is not making me happy. And so we birthed the Writing Whisperer, which is my brand. And it was very different. And, this was only 3 years ago. My brand has grown really fast. It's had a lot of growing pains. I've had to figure a lot of stuff out, sometimes in a really uncomfortable way. But day in and day out, I've gotten up and just done what I thought needed to get done to advance the brand. And it's now a global brand, and I get to travel with the brand, and I love it. So if anyone is stuck in a job or a career and they know that there's more out there, but you don't know what it is, just allow yourself to dream, because it can happen. Whatever is meant to happen can happen.
Right. And obviously, because you have the brand, like you said, the Writing Whisperer, and so you love writing. That's your passion. And I know you do a lot of traveling with your writing. And so tonight, I want to delve into that area about how you use what you love to do. And it's really fun to you, and it's actually your career now.
Yeah. Rajade, I'm not sure that I do like writing, to be honest. I'm not sure I love it.
Oh, okay.
And here's why. I love helping people find their voice.
Okay.
And the Writing Whisperer, yes, I do write, and I enjoy writing. I also really enjoy Facebook Live videos right now. I'm all about those videos. But I love helping people find their voice, especially women, and using that voice to build their own brands or to tell their story. And that can be in the form of writing. But I really kicked back, like taken a step back from a lot of my own personal writing, just because I'm helping so many people with their content and their stories. But sometimes there's just not enough mental energy for me to do my own writing.
And that makes sense. I totally understand that. You're drained at the end of the day when it comes to your stuff. I got you.
Yeah. But I have been able to go to some really cool places over the last 3 years. So that's been a lot of fun.
Where have you been so far?
Well, I've been to Bali, which was really fun. It's probably one of the best trips I've taken. And there I pitched myself as a Huffington Post writer and was brought into a community of digital nomads, which are people that just live in wherever they live. As long as they have internet, they can work from wherever. They're entrepreneurs, and for the most part. And I went in there and I did some workshops around content and how to use content to build your brand. And that was really fun. I also traveled to India this past January, and I was there for about 16 or 17 days. And I volunteered in the slums of Gujarat, and I worked with young ladies who live in a leprosy colony, and they're shunned for so many reasons. One, because they live in a leprosy colony, and two, because they're poor and live in poverty. But they have a leadership program there, and I went in and worked with the next generation of girls who will be going to college. And the year prior, the first 4 girls from the community ever went to college. So it was a really big deal. And we did a lot with leadership and what it means to be a leader. Even in a society where women can't really lead, we did a lot of self-leadership work. So that was really good. That was a great experience on so many levels. I had never traveled to a third world country, and my eyes were just so opened to what goes on in other parts of the world. Yeah, it was crazy. That was really crazy.
Oh, wow. That seems exciting. I need to look into that as well.
Yeah. And then I traveled to, this summer, I went and volunteered for 9 days in the Rocky Mountains at elevation 11,500 feet. We set up our base camp, and we were there in July. There was about 20 of us. I went with a couple girlfriends, but then we just met up whoever else was there that had volunteered for the crew. And we were working on the Rocky Mountain Trail, which is a hiking trail of 500 and some miles. And we're trying to finish the last 4 miles. So I got to work with the National Forestry Service, and we learned how to build trail and cut trail and divert water and prevent erosion. And I'll tell you what, I will never, ever take a hiking trail for granted again. It was such hard work. And the days
I can
were
imagine.
long.
You said elevation 11,000. I was just like, oh my goodness. I just felt like I was losing breath just hearing it.
Yeah, and then imagine like hiking up 2 miles to the trail, doing all the physical labor, and then coming back down. And what was so weird for me is because I've never really been, the elevation didn't bother me so much. I mean, one of the days I was pretty sick, but I just came down and like, you know, you go down till you feel better and then you come back up. The day's temperatures were 70, but at night it was like 35 degrees, and we were in tents. It was so cold. It was so cold. And even worse, we had a ban on fires because the land was so dry. So as soon as that sun went down at like 6 o'clock, everyone just crawled into their tent, put their sleeping bags up over their faces, and just like waited for the sun to come out the next morning.
Oh my goodness.
It was a gut check.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so I really, you know, you said at the beginning that I was working on my second book, and I actually just made a decision in the last week that I'm not working on that second book anymore. And it's okay. You know, I had to give myself permission to let that go.
What was the reason to change this timing, or you just feel like you were being overworked?
No, I really just think that that book was all about courage and creating a life you love in terms of all the volunteer work that I just talked about. But I realized where my heart really is helping entrepreneurs find the courage and create a life they love. And if they want to volunteer, it's fine. But so I'm really blending these two ideas together with the Writing Whisper. It's like the next evolution. And I've also created something called the Content Personality Wheel, which has pretty much, today I had so much traffic to my website, the site went down. And it's because of this tool that I've created, which is helping business owners get their content aligned with their personality. And it's been a game changer for people, because no longer do you have to labor through a video if you take the quiz and it's not in your personality. Like, why are we doing things that we don't love doing in our businesses? So I'm going to really speak more about courage and creating a life you love within the business that you're building, because I think it's the thing that's missing that people aren't really talking about. And I know because I've done it, and you know because you've done it. You don't have to do what other people say you need to do in your business. You can do it the way you want, and it'll be perfectly fine.
Right. Absolutely. It's all about, I like to tell people, staying in your own lane, and it's okay. Like, I know when I had this idea of leadership and training women in leadership development, I was told I was crazy. That was so,
Mm.
I did what you did, Shannon, when I was just like, I know law is not it. Nope, this is not working. I know I went to school for this, but I don't care. I'm unhappy. I'm about to have a nervous breakdown at the age of 25. I'm like, no, my husband thought I was crazy, which I probably was at the time, but I didn't care. And so I did exactly what you did. I hired a coach. I actually hired several coaches, and they kept telling me that my idea would not work.
Mm.
So for me, that was just like, what do you mean it's not going to work? We need this. Women, we need leadership. We need training. Because for me, being in a corporate position, and I was the only, person in the law firm, number one, the only woman, and then to be the only African American woman, it was just like I had
Mm.
no mentor or anything like that. And that's all about leadership. And we didn't have, when you're in those roles, women are at a disadvantage. Not to say that we're incompetent, because we're not, but we don't have that nurturing and mentorship, same as men gets when they're ushered into a career opportunity. And that's where I came in and at, because I felt like I didn't have that mentorship, that level, that goals that goal setting. Oh my goodness, my allergies killing me. That goal setting mindset. And so that's why I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So you know what I did? I fired all of them. And
Yep.
I started reading and reading and reading, and I just did what you did. Started putting stuff out there, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't work. I started asking my Facebook friends, what would they like? Would they be interested in X, Y, and Z? And that's kind of pretty much how my business grew. I started asking questions of people who will follow me and comment on my stuff. And I just would ask them, well, if in your career or your business, what would you want to work on? And so I
Mm.
started focusing on those things.
And I just want to say, and maybe you can take a drink while I talk if you're still coughing over there.
Thank
um,
you.
you're very welcome. I think that we don't use the social media enough for what it was actually intended for. Yes, it's fun. I love it just as much as the next person. But your listeners have now just heard two people that got on social media and said, I need help. Where do I turn? Or what would you like to learn? And that's words. That are powerful words, and that really is what social media was intended to be in the very beginning. And if you need to know something, you can reach out to the people commenting on your blog. You can reach out to the people in your Facebook community. You can reach out to your email list if you have one. And I do this every once in a while. Man, people answer. I say, hey, what are you struggling with right now? Please hit reply and let me know. You just better be ready to answer them all. That's the thing. Like, make sure you have time so you're not ignoring your community. But this is where ideas come from, and this is how you can really hone your ideas. And I hope that your readers, your listeners can take that away today with them as they go about, if they're stuck or not sure where to go. We all have a community somewhere that's willing to help us.
Absolutely. So yeah, and then my the next thing I want us to talk about is, you know, I know you said you took a step back from your book to focus on helping other women. So what is it that you do now specifically that you're focusing on with in regards to helping women find their voice?
Yeah, I really am working with women business owners and helping them find their brand stories and tell those stories in a way that's really authentic and engaging. And by the way, if you're real and you're authentic, you will be engaging. It's when you're acting out of alignment that you're not engaging. People can see right through that. So I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. I host retreats around the world. We're going to Italy in May. It's the next one. And I just really work with women on getting their content to a place that positions them as a thought leader and helps them dominate their industry, really is what I'm about. And that could be 50 people dominating an industry. I'm not saying there's just one person, but there's enough room in the sea for lots of fish, it's okay. I don't believe
Absolutely.
in, I do not believe in competition, but collaboration. So that's really the work I'm doing. And it's so uplifting because some women want to write a book. That's their next content thing. And some want to start a video series, and some want to do a podcast or a radio show, and some want to just get better at writing a curriculum so they can offer classes. So I'm able to help them with whatever content fits their personality and bring their brand to life. And in the end, that means they're making more money and they have more clients, and then their clients are being helped. And so it makes the world a bigger place, a better place.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just love everything that you're doing. Like I just think, I think one of the important things like that I think is similar for me and you, that we've both hit on is that we made a decision, early on, like, hey, what we've been doing is not working. This is not the life that we want. And we started, reaching out, trying to find resources to figure out like, okay, how can I create a life that number one, I deserve, and the life that I want. And and it started with just utilizing social media. I mean, a lot of people, they think like, oh, I don't have money to do X, Y, and Z, but honestly the real power is just asking the question for help. You'll be surprised at who will be willing to help you. I know when I first started out a couple of years ago, I didn't have a lot of money to start, for funding and things like that. I used what I had to kind of barter. And I think, Shannon, we actually did that because we were in the same spot a couple of years ago. We actually bartered, you needed contract. Okay, I helped you out. I needed content training. Yep. And so that's how we worked it on out. And that was just from us connecting via Facebook. Yeah. It was just that simple. And it's like you said, a lot of people don't understand the power of social media. They utilize it incorrectly, but it really has a lot of power to, make or break you, especially in business.
Yeah. And I think it's important. Like sometimes bartering gets a really bad name. And I think that if you go into it, I mean, first you have to know what you need, right? Otherwise you're just going to barter your services all the time and you won't have a business. But
absolutely.
I think that it's a good point that if people are just starting out, like find someone that needs help. I mean, I just actually bartered a photographer for 4 days. She's becoming my brand photographer, but she needed coaching because she's rebranding. And she approached me with it. She said, you know what? I really need coaching. And I'd love to work with you. And I know you have a retreat. Do you have a photographer lined up? And I was like, no, I hadn't even thought about that one. So she came to the retreat and captured all of those images, professional images that I now have like a branded stock library, and I'm helping her build her brand and rebrand. So I think if you're very strategic about the barter and you also realize that a barter is not to devalue you, but to add something that you need, that you're also being a service to someone else, I think that it can be beneficial for both parties.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, you have to be strategic about it. Now, you just can't just going around bartering any and everything because you still got to make money too in your business as well. So it's all about strategy. If it's something you can't afford, but it'll be beneficial, like you said, the brand images for your retreat, that's something that you need so you can promote the next one. People want to see who's there. What does it look like? They want to get the feel from it. And that's starting to actually continue expanding your brand globally. That's part of your brand extension. So that was a great barter because that's something that you needed. You don't want to have this amazing retreat and you can't even capture the moment.
I know. And you know what I realized is there's no way I could have like really done justice and taken pictures while I'm being the retreat facilitator. Like, what the hell? I'm not Wonder Woman. This is a good lesson. We are not Wonder Woman or Superwoman or anyone else. Like, we're just normal human beings and we need to ask for help and we need to get help when we need it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, before we get off the call, Shannon, I want you to briefly talk. I know you mentioned your retreat in May for Italy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to
Yeah.
go. I want you to go ahead and talk about that, because that's something, that I think the listeners on the call could benefit from. I think having an intimacy of one-on-one coaching and just being around other like-minded individuals is something not only that would transform you personally but professionally as well. Whether you want to start your own career or if you want to go to the next level, where you're currently working at, I think that retreat environment is a very beneficial thing.
Yeah, so we're in the planning stages. I know that my retreat sweet spot is 6 to 8 people. I like it small. I like giving that attention, and we're going to be spending a week in Tuscany in an old farm house that's been turned into. It's called agriturismo. So it's a tourist lodging in the country. So it's out amongst the grapevines and the olive grove trees. And it's really beautiful. I actually was just in Tuscany about 3 weeks ago. And so everyone, the information will be up soon, but you can find anything. You can catch me on Facebook. You can find me at www.thewritingwhisperer.com. Feel free to drop me a line. I would love to speak with your listeners.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Shannon. We have to get in contact. I need to take a trip to see you soon.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I need to see you. I haven't, we haven't met physically, but I haven't talked to you in a long time. So we need to, I know we're both busy right now, but we need to connect and everything, because I'm also doing a retreat and maybe we can do a collaborative event coming up soon. So definitely we need to get in contact ASAP.
That would be a lot of fun, and I will find you on Facebook Messenger and start the conversation.
All right. Well, you enjoy your evening, because I know you had a very stressful day today, and I need you to relax.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you for being on the call again.
Okay. Thanks so much.
No problem. Have a good night.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Hop on over to searchforherexistence.com and join in on the discussion. Also, tweet us at searchforherexist and tell us what you think about today's show. See you next week, all on Bold Radio Station.